Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and my morning cough there. Thank you for joining this audio radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the disincentives, the many disincentives to work, and how fewer and fewer people are saying, well, it's not worth working. I'll only do the absolute bare minimum. And even the bright, the industrious, and the conscientious are saying, why should I work hard? Why should I go out of my way to bust my ass or do good work or arrive at the office early or these sort of, why should I do that? And hard work is now only valued, if it's valued at all, is only valued at the labouring end of things, digging the hole in the road. But you get no extra pay for that. So in jobs where, as in physical labour, working hard, that just simply opens you up to more exploitation. Well, these are the views. Now, I just want to go through a few things here because it's becoming apparent today that the disincentives to working at all or working hard or doing more than the absolute bare minimum, the disincentives are far outweighing the incentives to work hard. So, and certainly, any sort of risk taking will be, in any manner, will be severely punished in, pretty much every instance. Now, this is a damning indictment on a capitalist society that has, certainly in the modern era at least, has prized itself on you work hard, you study hard, you do not have a dissolute lifestyle, you exercise sensible levels of probity and caution and discretion, and you don't go blowing your money on gambling or booze or drugs, these sorts of things. Live a sensible, modest, reasonable lifestyle, and you can do quite well for yourself, which has been true, by the way. So again, and I hark back to what we will, I think, see as the golden era of Western civilization in 1970, where pretty much anyone who had a full-time job could afford a basic, 3-bedroom, very basic and not huge, a basic 3-bedroom house, could support a dependent wife and 2.4 children, could own a car and go on an annual vacation, and kids could go through school and so on. This is the pre-college age of tertiary education, but that's pretty much, again, anyone had a full-time job. Today, the people that can live that lifestyle through their own income, I'm not including inheritance or winning a lottery or something, they, that's in the big cities, that's around 1 or 2% now overall, maybe 5%. So it's gone from anyone who had a full-time job to 5% of the people who have a full-time job can afford that. And even there, in many cases, 2 incomes are needed. That's how drastically the economics of Western living has changed in just 50 years, all inflicted and imposed on us by the globalists, by the way. None of it is organic or natural. It has been imposed upon us. And really, it's wealth transfers rather than anything else, because as the cost of living goes up, that extra money you have to spend on energy and rent and so on goes to a very narrow class of people. So a very narrow class of people benefit from these increased costs in the manner of cartels, monopolies, oligopolies, and so on. Nothing organic about this reduction in standard of living and quality of life at all. It's all been imposed from the top down. But coming back to the central point of this essay, which is the disincentives to work. Now, and I'll use personal examples here. There's some people down the road, their daughter who's hasn't been that long out of university, and she did a 4-year course in, I think it was accounting and finance or something. So she's got a master's, I think it is, in accounting. And now she's come out of college with a debt of, or the course cost somewhere in the region of $150,000. Parents helped her out. She lived with the folks while she was doing it, and they provided her spending money and the car and this sort of thing. So she was pretty well looked after in the overall scheme of things. She did work a little bit while she was studying, at some like the local takeout food shop or something like that. But just put that money into consumption rather than into paying off the debt. So the parents going to help her with the debt. But even so, and just talking to her and the folks, she was complaining almost bitterly, I thought, and with some justification, by the way, that she thought she'd walk into a well-paying job in accounting, but she's got no experience, and she's a straight white girl, so she doesn't get the benefit of the affirmative action stuff, because there's already quite a lot of white women in accounting. And so she's finding she can't get the well-paid jobs. She can't even get a job that pays the average wage, for goodness sake. So she looks at that, and she's done if anything, she's learned how to do some basic mathematics, but she looks at that and says, well, to pay, even if I live with my folks, and I live a very frugal lifestyle, no going out with the girlfriends and night clubbing or these sorts of things. So she's looking at it's going to take her 10 years approximately to pay back the debt. Then she's going to be 34, 30, the college fees debt. She's going to be 34, 35. She's trying to get her folks to help her sort of more actively with, and that's while she's living with the folks. So she's got no living expense. They're putting, she's got no rent. The folks are paying for everything for her car. All the food's paid for by her parents. So she's got, even if she puts pretty much, as she sees it, all the resources from her income on a job she thinks is well beneath her, where she's got to report to a Chinese chick that barely speaks English and things that she regards as humiliations and so on. So she looks at that and says, it's going to take me I'll be 35 by the time I'm shot of the debt. And at that stage, I would expect to be making maybe 125, maybe 150% of the average wage, give or take. That's not enough to buy a house. It's not enough to really do anything. I still have to, if I'm going to get married, I still have to get married to a guy who's on a better income, and through the combined income, if we live. But she doesn't want to live a Spartan frugal lifestyle. She wants the nice things, and she's looked at places to rent, and there's no way she can afford from her income to rent anything that's half decent, and so on and so forth. So she's looked at, and she was sort of saying, this is like we're sitting I'm sitting in the kitchen, or sitting in the kitchen talking to her folks, and she comes in and gives us her version of things. And I don't doubt the accuracy of what she's saying. I mean, it may be tending to the negative, but she's pretty much accurate. Her assessment of the situation is accurate. So her view is she's going to do two things. Why bother trying? Why bother going to the extra effort? And she's noticed it in work too. She tries to stand out in order to get the promotion or get the pay rise or get the bonus. Then the affirmative action appointments around her, all the brown and black people, they take exception to this, and they go to HR and human resources and say that she's upsetting them, or that she's showing microaggressions or something. So then next thing you know, HR is telling her she's got to tone it down. And you're upsetting. So as the number of affirmative action appointments and race quotas and the LGBT quotas, as the number of those kick in and become the majority, which they are now in many workplaces, by the way, then you're in a situation where you can't get ahead. You can't get a promotion because you're straight and white. You can't work hard to stand out because you'll upset the affirmative action appointments that haven't been appointed or given the job on any sort of merit. They've just been given the job because of their skin color or their victim class or something like that. So she can't see a way out of the situation she's in. The only thing is to wait for her folks to die and inherit something, or to win the lottery, or to marry a rich guy, or so she's waiting for some good luck. But she says, why should I work hard? firstly, I don't get anything, and secondly, I'm going to upset people. The affirmative action hires are going to get upset, and the HR is going to be all over me. Why should I live a frugal lifestyle when that frugality won't give me anything? It won't mean that I can own a house or do this or do that. So why live frugally, and so on. So really, she's sort of, why do I bother working, or certainly working hard? I'll do the absolute bare minimum, and I'll just live with my folks until they die, so I can inherit. So taking that attitude now. I'd say that attitude is now the majority attitude, or an approximation of it. So that's a disincentive there, and there are millions upon millions of people in her category there, particularly the white people who are in that sort of category. Now, if we look at the affirmative action appointments of the the black and the brown peasants and the LGBTQ, they see that they've been given the job as entitlement. Why should they work hard? They should only have to do the bare minimum, and they're still not being paid a lot of money. Maybe they too have got some college debts, so their situation can't be improved. Sure, they've got day-to-day, lunch money or something like that through their job. Sure, they've got that, but they're not going to get ahead. They're going to get anywhere, and anyway, they're damn well entitled to a job. And any disappointments in life they suffer because of the patriarchy and white privilege and this and that and the next thing. So why should they work hard to really legitimize this evil white society? So they're going to do the bare minimum, less than the bare minimum, because it's much harder to fire them. So they can do nothing. They can almost be as disruptive as they want to be, and they can't get fired. They can take long absences from work for supposed stress, or I'm suffering from racism, or microaggressions. So these people can take time off, and just listening to and just observing the things around me. There are people can take months off from if you're in a minority class, take months off from work, and the company's too frightened to fire them. And if they do fire them, then they've got to make huge payouts. And so here's a situation where the minorities aren't working. The affirmative action appointments and quota appointments that again are now in the overall majority, they're not working either. The white people say, why should I work when they don't do anything? So on it goes. Now, you also permeates into other areas such as divorce. Now, given men are treated so brutally through the divorce courts, and again, it's a wealth transfer thing, and a pretend faux social justice exercise, but she's contributed nothing. She's been lazy. She won't work. She's a spendthrift, careless with whatever and so on. But when they get divorced, the rule is that it must be treated as she made or earned the equivalent amount of money to him. It doesn't matter that he's a super bright, hardworking, industrious guy. She's as lazy as fuck. That doesn't matter. Ideologically, they're viewed as having worked at the same job on the same income. Therefore, she's entitled to immediately 50%. And then based on her victim status and the amount of children, extra on top of that. So the man, the hardworking man who's worked all his life to buy the property, look after the family, look after the children, and make sure that they're going to retire in comfort, all that hard work, and which unless he's inherited a lot or he's lucky, if he's relying on his skills and his capacities and his education and sense of industriousness and living a prudent lifestyle, this sort of thing. If he's relying on that, then he'll be absolutely torn to pieces. If it's a rich guy, rich or wealthy, very well-connected guy, it doesn't matter. He can quickly recover from that. But they're a tiny proportion of the population. Majority of middle-class men are just destroyed. So should they look at or consider getting married again, which quite a lot of them do, then they're looking at it, well, why should I go to those same lengths again? Why should I go? Why should I take those risks? Why should I work 75, 85-hour weeks? Why should I make those sort of efforts and strain this hard? I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to. why make that effort when it can be taken from me at any tick of the clock and just arbitrarily, they can arbitrarily increase the child support or alimony that I owe, and there is no legal defence I've got to stop that or prevent it. So why would I expose myself to those risks? The less I earn and the less I own, the less they can attack me and the less they can take from me. So why should I why should I bust my ass? And I'll just do the bare minimum work. So we've got this situation where there's no one out there, or very few out there, that see that working hard, being industrious, conscientious, positive-minded, motivated, and full of energy, and get up and go, and dash and around, and all this sort of stuff, that's worth it. Not only do they see that it's not worth it, they see that it will incur the wrath of the human, the HR department. Hey, you're upsetting the minorities. You're upsetting all the affirmative action appointments. You're in big trouble, you damn white supremacist, fucking misogynist, patriarchal Nazi. So there's no mileage in that either. Now, on top of that, you have an elite class that are entitled. So, I've met many of them, some of the people who have been gifted, senior appointments in the public service, or even boards of directors of some. Some of these people, fuck me, talk about lazy and stupid. And yet they're on, multi-gazillion dollar salaries. I think I've mentioned before as a lady that I dated years ago, and she was like a receptionist at the time and a moron, and not bad looking, but she's deputy CEO of one of the biggest financial firms in the world, and like I listened to an interview of her being interviewed at some business news site, and she's just as moronic as I remember her, but she's now on a $5 million a year salary, so income, so and entitled to it. So you get all these people, and I've been to the barbecues and the parties where you got these incredibly entitled people on massive salaries, and they're just all just socialites that are well connected at the elites. The friends of the Bill Gates and the friends of Larry Fink of BlackRock and Klaus Schwab's best buddies and this sort of thing, and they're all being allocated very well paid prestigious jobs. Look at some of the people in Justin Trudeau's cabinet in Canada. Have you seen a bigger collection of morons in your life? And they're all some of the highest paid government officials in Canada. Fuck. So there's an entitled class at the upper end. The only hard work they'll do is to push the globalist message or something. That's all they're going to do. So really, the amount of people that are invested in a productive, wealth creating, I'll work hard and get ahead society, that's dwindled away to close to nothing, and it's showing. And I think it's in the overall new wealth creation and all this sort of stuff. I think it shows there's very few people that see themselves as being able to improve their lot by hard work, or I'm in this position now, I can do better. If you're on a $5 million salary a year and have been on a few years, you're being paid far, far, far and above whatever you're really worth in the real competitive world. So hard work isn't going to get you anywhere. In fact, that's similar to like the affirmative action appointments. That's likely to get you into trouble if you do it. So also we're seeing a descent. Once you move away from affirmative action and those sort of things, certainly at the upper level, that's been completely taken over by cronyism now. So you've got cronyism at the top paid level, if you like. It's pure cronyism, wall-to-wall cronyism. And if someone gets in there that isn't part of the crony network, it's an accident, it's a mistake. And then at the rest of the level for the rest, it's all affirmative action, it's quotas and race, gender quotas, LGBT quotas. So no one really has any incentive anymore to work hard. And we see this in again, I've got a share in the business. We see this regularly in the business side of things where we're not always, but we're often now sitting, and it's certainly got worse over the last couple of years, sitting across the desk from people that say, well, yeah, look, this is when we're bidding for a contract of some sort. Yeah, well, look, it's all very good, Billy Bob. Yeah, it's very impressive. You're a bunch of bright guys. You work hard, you do a good job, and get a good result. Yeah. But really, our priority is finding a company that's run by black lesbians and giving them the work, and that's so that it's even affirmative action and social justice, equity bullshit is even applying there. So I would see, I do see, and I think we're there now, a situation where the number of people who are invested in society and see that hard work, ingenuity, getting a good education, all this sort of stuff just isn't worth it. There's no point. You either can't improve your situation, or you're going to attract so much negative attention, in working hard and so on, that it's simply not worth it. If everyone around you is going to hate you just because you work hard, why the fuck work hard? Why would you do that? So why not just do the bare minimum, and then your life in a day-to-day sense will be easier. So now this is a stark contrast to how it was when I was a kid, which isn't that long ago, for fuck's sake. So how when I was the classic sort of multinational cadet trainee type dude, we were all, a bunch of us sort of a similar age, and our bosses, we're all consumed with desire that we can improve things, we can change the world in a productive commercial business sense, not change the world in as much as we can placard wave about the evils of oil or something, not that, but we can actually work, we can find the cure for cancer and so on, and how energetic and motivated. And if it came to, well, we'd have to, work until midnight that night to get something done that we thought was worthwhile and material and useful, and then we would do it. Also, we had a lot of confidence in our bosses. Not all of them. Some of them were still done there. It wasn't perfect back then, far from it, but we had a lot of confidence that our bosses had got there on some form of, most of them had got there on some form of merit. Now, I remember one of the directors of the company, he'd married the daughter of, one of the rich CEOs or something like that. And so he'd been gifted through the crony sort of network, he'd been gifted jobs. But I remember the bosses I had a lot of confidence in them. I knew that they'd got there on some form of merit. I knew that they were hardworking. I knew that they were industrious. I knew that they were dedicated to helping me as their subordinate, helping me be successful. These sorts of things. I don't see that anywhere today. Now, maybe they're in pockets, but I just don't see it. It's completely. So I just want to sort of go through that we live in a society now that and this has been achieved in a relatively short space of time. You can't say the globalists are without accomplishment. They've managed to convince, an entire Western society that it's not worth bothering to work or work hard or make an effort beyond the absolute minimum. Now, that is an accomplishment. You've been a Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.